Good afternoon. Thank you so much for the organizers to give us the opportunity to present this afternoon. And distinguished guests and participants. And I say warm greetings also to our friends and clients in Solomon Islands, Vanuatu, Papua New Guinea, Kiribati, and Southeast Asia and Africa. Good afternoon and good morning. I want to take you with me to our journey we did in the last 10 years with solar powered desalination plants, for how to make communities resilient against climate change. Who are we? We are Germans who have a company established 1902 in Germany. In 2011, we started a water branch and moved to Perth as a good hub for our customers in East Africa, Southeast Asia, Pacific countries, and in Australia. We are focused on two main areas. The one area is water for people, solar power desalination plants for rural communities, schools, and healthcare centers. And the other area is agriculture, solar power desalination plants for the farming industry here in Australia. And later Curtis will say something to the Australian market. Challenges in the coastal environments. So my friends who participate, they know it, they grew up with it, the problems on islands and coastal areas or atolls where the freshwater lands gets more and more salty through climate change, through change of raining water patterns, longer droughts, unexpected long dry seasons, and strong cyclones. In Vanuatu, the Department of Water Resources, they run a workshop on Oripif Island, where we implemented 2 years ago our desalination plant, solar powered, and they did field tests with all kind of water sources, the wells, the rainwater tank, and our desalination plant. And the only secure water was our desalination plant. It's a photo from this field test. The drinking water safety plan, it's a plan what's rolled out in Vanuatu from the Department of Water, and all the island communities has to take part of this. And it's very important, and we are very, very glad that it's not only about water, access to water, it's also about access to safe drinking water. And we stand for quality water, WHO standard drinking water. At the moment, everybody's talking about hand washing in this COVID discussion. And I want to highlight the quality water to drink. And we have amazing testimonies. I want to tell you later more about it. Why solar power desalination? It's reliable, it's secure, it treats salinity, pathogens, and all kinds of bacteria and virus. Where no filter system can get rid of salt, that's where we need the membrane technology. And where you need membrane technology, you need power. And where you need power, you have the problem of where do you get the power from? The diesel generator or the grid, or what we have for free, the sun. And when it's once implemented and established, then you can run forever. You never have a lack of sun and never have a lack of seawater in the Pacific. So here we go. We are focused on simplified technology. There is a lot out there, a lot of concepts of desalination, and each desalination plant and company has its rights, but we are focused on simplified technology, what fits to the needs of the rural areas, the rural communities. And it's my vision to roll out the same kind of technology in the whole Southeast Asia and Pacific areas, and to train the people, the young, the old, the women. I highly emphasize to include women in training. And it's an absolutely green energy. It's CO2 free. It's very often at the moment in the Pacific, the topic about including renewable energy. And also it's our units, our small scale units run all chemical free. It's a huge advantage. And we designed it and we worked since 10 years. We are pioneers in the solar power desalination plant areas for rural areas. I want to highlight the quote from former foreign minister from Vanuatu, Ralph Nano. First time in history of our island, we have a source of water which is reliable. When the rainwater tank are empty, groundwater is not the best to drink. Whatever happens, we have a source of fresh water to drink. Technology. We work with a proven membrane technology, and our membranes we use work 7 to 10 years. And that's because we have the kind how we treat the water, and later the department, the technical department will explain you more about it. These kind of membranes will remove all dissolved salts, contaminations, fluoride, arsenic. And here I want to highlight something very special. We don't sell from the shelf. We look into each project separately. We ask our clients to give us, to provide us a water analysis. The better we provide the project, the better is it in the long term, because then we can include pre-filtrations, what will handle all kind of things what's in the water. We here in Australia, we are very, very experienced. One farmer has many boreholes and each bore has a different water. So we know how important it is to look into the source of water. When it comes to seawater desalination, it's something else that's a bit easier, but needs more power. We have a range from 30 liter per hour, 100 liter, 250 liter, 500,000, 5,000 and more. You give us your requirements and we will design and engineer for you the right plan to your for your community, for your needs, for your health centers, schools, whatever you need. This is the other end of big project. It's for UNICEF Copenhagen. We deliver to Ethiopia. It's installed in a sea container. So these two machines can handle 80,000 liters per day, and the water gets pumped up 400 meters from groundwater, and it's very, very salty, higher than seawater salinity. What differs us from other companies? It's our holistic approach. We integrate a system and introduce it to the community, and that will ensure the success, ownership, and the long-term commitment from the partners. I visited in the Pacific Island, a country, and the guy who introduced me to this island, he showed me machines and said, oh, this is the machine from here, this is the machine from there. And as soon the warranty is gone, the machine stands still. And that is such a pain when there is such a waste of technology. And we want to train the locals and to use spare and wear parts and do it on time. So we we look in training for the daily operator. We train service technicians and we support it in the long-term commitment and with a hotline for Moerk Water in Australia. Here you see a plant that's in Africa with a daily operator who got trained. He has the responsibility in the morning to switch on and in the evening switch off and do the cleaning and basics in troubleshooting. And they get more and more confident in doing this and are very proud of this daily job. Here I show you a picture from Solomon Islands where we run a training together with Youth with a Mission in Honiara. They do a lot of community technologies and they are specialized also in renewable energy. And it's important to have trustworthy partners on the ground where we can work together. It might be NGO, local government, a local company. In Myanmar, it's a local company in Yangon. And so each project has its own story. Here I want to demonstrate the service and maintenance. So the service technicians we trained in Honiara visit the maternity clinic in Solomon Islands, on a remote island in Samarai. And we trained the midwife and the nurse and they run the show. They look after the machine, they change the filters, and it's amazing. Here you see the Martin who trained and who is the director for Moerk Water. On the right side, John Mina, who is the service technician in Zanzibar, and in the middle, the daily operator. And we have a long-term commitment with Pamoja, our partner in Zanzibar, and John, whom we trained 10 years ago, he's an expert and he traveled also to Somalia to implement machines in Kismayo in a hospital. So that's our goal, to make from local service technicians experts to travel even to the neighboring country. And in times of COVID, where it's more and more important to strengthen the local partners and to travel where you can, when you are limited. But in the Pacific bubble, there's a special commitment, and I'm very confident that we can roll out the technology soon. Here you see our projects. We started 2011 in Zanzibar, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Somalia, Kenya, Myanmar, Indonesia, Solomon Islands, Papua New Guinea, Vanuatu, Kiribati, and in the agriculture in Western Australia. Here I want to share a story which is very dear to me. In the maternity clinic in Samarai, the moms had to paddle home immediately after giving birth. Can you imagine? And sometimes the babies died. And the midwife now, because she has this desalination plant on the ground, on the island, on her clinic, she can give safe WHO standard drinking water to the moms and to the relatives and all other patients, of course. And now she can oversee the moms after giving birth some days. And it's a secure time when they leave the clinic after 1 week. And the midwife is so, so happy. She even cried as she told me the story. And also fishermen know that in the clinic is a desalination plant. They stop, refill their bottles, and continue with fishing. And it's also high quality water to clean the instruments from the hospital. Here, a project overview in Zanzibar. On an island with 1,700 people, we have on 3 different places, 3 solar powered units. And the teachers and the moms are so happy because in the morning they just go out and don't have to walk for hours getting water, just in the village where they live. And they told me also their hands, they don't have to take the rope anymore to going to the well. They just can switch on the hose and get fresh water. And it's just a release for the women on this island. And I think everywhere when it comes to water, it's the women. Here in Oripif Island in Vanuatu, our project covers the 800 villages, the schools, the healthcare center, and the solar panels are mounted on the roof from the healthcare center. Recently, there was the storm Harold, and after the storm Harold, they could switch on immediately the desalination plant, and they had the day after the storm safe WHO standard drinking water. The government could be very calm when it came to Uripif. There was a lot of other islands where was a big disaster to get water, and so many houses got destroyed. But in Uripif, the water supply was really secure. Kelara, she's the desalination officer in Uripif. She said the training Moerk Water, it was very well. It's simplified technology compared to others. They are very happy to have this plant on Oripif, and it goes very well. You can see from the in Papua New Guinea, there is a nanofiltration system, and the husband from a female teacher runs the machine, is the daily operator. And Karen August, one of the girl in the red shirt, she is the spokesman. And each week we have a phone call, we talk, we WhatsApp, we became friends, and she is my hero. If something goes wrong or she has a question, she reach out to me or goes to the government, to the local government, and talks to them. We also delivered 600 drinking bottles to the school, and they are so happy that they can refill their bottles and have enough water. In former days, they couldn't run the school all year round because there was a long drought season, and now they can run the school to the end from the school year, regardless how the weather is. Our portable unit it's good for disaster and emergency reasons. We introduced in India, in Kerala, here you see a group of students from Moerk University in Perth with the new Colombo plan, which is rolled out from the government in Australia. We traveled together with a group of students from Perth to Kelara and visited the engineer school. And that was wonderful to talk to Professor Susan Jacobs here and demonstrate a portable desalination plant. And we also highly emphasize the training and talk to students and give students also working experience in our company. So from here, I want to greet Robert Eromelafo from Solomon Islands, who did his working experience and his master's here with us in Perth, and also Paka from Tuvalu. And we have others from Mauritius and a lot of students working with us. In a nutshell, what makes communities resilient? Implement the project and prepare it before the drought and disaster comes, because there will droughts and disasters and storms and cyclones. Good training, building up capacity of the daily operator and service technician, and make sure it's really settled, because as you know, the project's success depends only 20% to the technology and 80% to the capacity of training the people. And also simplified technology, robust machines which fits to these areas, to these coastal areas. And we highly emphasize also a business model that the maintenance and service could be paid by the community. We do also business models, operation costs, and each project has a different cost model, of course. And so please don't hesitate to reach out to us. And herewith, I want to hand over to the technical department, to Curtis and Martin. And please address all your questions now to our team.
Just before thanks, Barbara. Just before we get into the questions, if we run out of time, we still want to answer all of your questions. So you can email us at info@moerkwater.com.au. What was that?
Is the mic on?
Yeah, the mic's on.
Okay.
You can hear us all right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Perfect. So we'll start with Saswati.
So thank you for your questions. The first question is about the typical barriers we face when we work in the communities. The first barrier can be to find the right partners who have a heart and a vision to help their community to get the drinking water infrastructure. That's the first. There we are very careful to look after the people there, talk with the water committee, help them to create a water committee which is accepted by the community. And when there is a water committee, then we are really sure that it will work on long term. Now, sometimes it can be dry spot, because the communities are often only accessible by a fisher boat. So we provide the modules in weight and size that it's easy to transport. Yeah, maybe that's some of the typical barriers. And now you're asking for the basic qualification. So I would say the basic qualification is to have a heart for this project, to have a heart for it, and to have the willingness to go forward. We had the training for illiterate people, for it really just writing with pictures, and it worked very well over many years. And when they are backed up by the community, you can do it with everyone. No basic technical qualification or something like that. And then you ask about the support. We have a hotline and provide the people with answers. The people are responsible for the project with answers for any questions which come up. And sometimes it's just a question about how to operate it here or in this condition or whatsoever, or when consumables have to be changed or replaced, and to help them to find something on the local market. So that's an ongoing support, answering their questions.
I'll just quickly read through some of these other questions. By the way, if we don't get to your question, please send us an email at info@moerkwater.com.au, or just leave your email address in the chat.
And another question was about the different types of water. As Barbara mentioned, we run when we have the water analysis for the water wells, then we design the pre-treatment, the post-treatment according to the water quality, so that we are sure the water gets treated in the right way. And with the seawater, as Barbara mentioned, seawater is more similar, so that's just some components you have to be aware of. And yeah, that's customized, and yeah.
I think we've touched on job creation.
Yes, we did.
Asking community school. We'll engage with all stakeholders on the ground. We really see the project through from start to finish. We do have projects in Africa.
There's a question about Mozambique. We haven't been in Mozambique so far, but we are really willing to install units in Mozambique when there is a need to treat brackish or seawater. Sure. How many kilowatt per cubic? That's a very good question as well. That depends on the level of salinity. The higher the salt level, the more power is needed. For the seawater units, we usually use a energy recovery device to keep the power demand in an affordable level. So it for the RO section, it needs between 3.5 kilowatt hour per cubic meter. It can be less, far less, and it can be more. In the breakage, we don't use energy recovery device, so it varies between, let's say, 1.5 kilowatt hour per cubic, and can in some cases up to 7. It also depends on the capacity of the machine. The higher the capacity, the more efficient it can run.
If questions about pricing or specific projects, we'd really encourage you to send us an email at info@moerkwater.com.au. Our filters generally last 7 to 10 years, at least our membranes.
I think we have covered most of the questions.
Yeah. If we haven't addressed anything you've said, either write to us or leave your email in the comments.
And Reinhard Feske's we can answer individually, depending on the size and locality.
There's a follow-up question, Martin. What is the footprint requirement for a 5,000 liter per hour plant? There's one more question.
I ask him, what do you mean with the footprint? Do you think the size or the CO2 or capital cost, or what do you think about what is the footprint? Land area. Okay, good question. So 5,000 liter unit easily in a 20-foot sea container. If it's a higher breakage, if it's a low breakage water plant, it can be it's a size of, let's say, 1 by 3 meter, the plant. And then if you want to have the solar array, usually on the roof of a building at the best, so it's away, or if not possible, ground mounted frame. But that depends. That really depends on the power which is needed, which is depending on the salinity. But we can talk it individually later if you send us an email about the further details of the water quality which has been treated.
So I've just left a URL in the chat, so that's the place to visit if you want to keep talking with us, and we'll be in touch with you.